Hey boo, it's Yvonne Michel coming straight from the den every Monday. You're listening to episode 14. Do you listen? Alrighty, so a lot of people are saying, yeah, I'm listening to you. Okay, so you're listening to me, but do you hear what I am saying? Like, can you hear the words that are coming out of my mouth? Oh my goodness. If y'all didn't get that, all y'all black cards revoked. I'm just letting you know. No, but for real, those are two different things. They're two different things. Listening and hearing are not the same thing. This is what Google says. Listening is giving one's attention to sound. Google says about hearing, perceive with the ear the sound made by someone. Does that not sound different to you? You're listening because you're hearing wah, 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 wah. But are you hearing? That's when you can actually understand what I am saying, okay? All right. So half of y'all out here, maybe majority of y'all out here are just listening and not hearing. So that's why you clicked on this podcast, boo. We're going to know if you really are listening. At the end of all of my ranting, at the end of all of my important notes for you guys, I'm actually going to have a listening strengths quiz with you guys. I actually took this quiz in my class that I took in the fall semester. And I was like, I need to bring this to the podcast because this shit is banger. And it actually it kind of told me what I already knew about myself, but it told me a little bit. I actually had two answers and I was like, damn, okay. I kind of do feel like I'm half and half, which is true. You can be more than one. So anyways, we're going to get to that at the end. I just want to talk to you a little bit about some points about listening because it's really important to listen to whoever you're having a conversation with, no matter if it's with your job, friends, relationships, romantic relationships. It's really important to hear what they are saying because you don't want to seem like you don't care about the situation or that, fuck y'all feelings, I'm leaving. You don't want to seem like you are the only one or only your opinions matter because that's just how you just ruin relationships with people, friendships with people. And it just doesn't end up being the right direction that you want to go in with having people close to you and everything like that. So, and that's how you can really sever ties, really just ruin relationships just by not listening to them, not being attentive, not being compassionate towards whoever you have that relationship with. So here's some tips that you can take in and learn from just from switching that listening to hearing. So in order to start listening, especially within every conversation, you want to take these steps. One, you want to be attentive to the conversation. You want to basically focus all your energy on that conversation that you're having with that person. Put your phone away, put it on silent. Don't even bring it with you if you have the chance of leaving it in another room or something like that. Or put it in a pocket in your purse. Keep it away. Phones, are really big. Phones, tablets, anything like that, it's just that is distracting. Put it away. Also, even your watch, try not to keep looking at your watch as if you want this conversation to end already, or you seem like you're busy and you don't want to be a part of that conversation, which can be really rude in a way because it's damn, I want to have this conversation with you and you keep looking at your watch, you keep looking at the time. Do you not want to have this conversation with me right now? So that can be another way of just being distracted and not being attentive to the conversation. Try to avoid just any distractions. Keep your focus on that person. Eye contact is really good. Another part of listening is make sense of the message that's being given to you. And what I mean about that is you're hearing what they're, at this point, you're attentive to the conversation. You're giving them eye contact. You put your distractions away. And now you're listening. Now you're hearing what they're saying. And you're listening to what they're saying. Yeah, let me change that word up. You're listening to what they're saying, but you're not hearing what they're saying. So you need to make sense of what they're talking about. You need to understand the topic of the conversation, why you're talking about this right now, what happened, what made this conversation topic being brought up for. Does that make sense? What made this topic be brought up for? Why does that feel like it's coming out so weird? You know what I'm trying to say, okay? So basically, make sense of it. You want to know the ins and out of why this is being brought up, how come it's being brought up, so that you can understand. And then once you start understanding, then you can start remembering what was being said. So if Sally went down to the park and picked up an ice cream, she didn't go to the store and pick up the ice cream. She went to the park and picked up the ice cream. You feel what I'm saying? So always remember what was being said before so that you could always fit your puzzle pieces in together. So when Sally went to the park to pick up her ice cream and, she made it down the block and made it home and then her ice cream fell. Where did she get her ice cream from? She didn't go to the store. She went to the park and got her ice cream. So you have to, make sure that you're remembering what's being said because that's super important, especially for ladies. You don't want to seem like you're not listening to your lady or your lady friend, whatever, because if it feels like you're not listening to them, then they're just going to cut the conversation. They're going to think you're being rude. They're not going to want to have a conversation with you no more about that topic, or in that very moment, they're probably just going to end up getting real mad or walk away or anything like that. So make sure that you really are listening and remembering. And once you switch that listening into hearing, that's when you can start remembering and continue with the conversation. After that, you want to grasp the literal meaning of the conversation. Here's an example of grasping the literal meaning. Say, for example, your boss is like, yeah, I need to see you in my office right now. Damn, he could be telling you you're going to get fired. Or maybe you get in a race. You don't really know the aspect of the conversation unless you grasp the literal meaning. You don't know if this is going to be positive or it's going to go negative. So you want to make sure that you are grasping the literal meaning. He is not telling you this information for no reason. There is a meaning behind it. So make sure you grab that. Next, you want to evaluate the information. Is it truthful? Maybe Sally went to the park, got her ice cream, and it's not that it just fell out of nowhere. Maybe somebody punched her in her face. And then her ice cream fell out of her hand. So she could be lying to you. Not lying, but she could be untruthful. Well, I guess that's still lying. Or maybe bending the truth, at the end of the day, her ice cream did fall on the floor. So she could be bending the truth, and you just need to make sure that you evaluate the information. You find all the facts on it. You're only hearing one side of the story. If you're friends with the other part of the party, then you can listen to that part of the story and then figure out the real facts. So make sure that you are grabbing all of the truth, the real, and just making sure that you hear all sides of the story if you're able to. That way that it's not a one-sided judgment or anything like that. And lastly, you want to make sure that you respond. You want to provide feedback to the conversation that you're having with that person. If the person is looking for a yes or no answer, then you could just say yes or no. But if this person is looking for a real detailed feedback, like, damn, like that's fucked up. I'm sorry that you dropped your ice cream. That's, that would have ruined my day too. I pay all this money, then walk the whole block, 3, 4, 5 blocks down, and then my ice cream fall. Well, really, she got punched in her face, but she didn't even tell you all that. But for real, that's when you want to provide feedback, even nonverbal feedback. Like I said, keeping your eye contact with them, getting away, moving all your distractions out of the way, and just facing your body towards them is a really great non-verbal communication to give to them, because it shows to them that you are giving them your undivided attention and that you really want to, turn from listening to hearing the conversation. That way you can have, after you then remembered everything, you grasped the literal meanings, you did a little factual, like, is this true? And then you can give your feedback and say, well, damn, Sally, I'm so sorry that happened to you. What do you want to do next? Do you want to get something else tonight? Like, that's when you can respond and have good feedback to the conversation. So I really, 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 really loved this when I learned this in class, because it's like, this is so true. Like, a lot of people don't do this. I know sometimes I don't always do this. Like, maybe I don't always grasp the literal meaning, or maybe I don't always evaluate the information. Like, when my friends tell me something, maybe I'm not getting the full truth, and maybe I find out the real truth later on, or I hear another side of the story later on. So it's like, it could be, a little fucked up, but but it's good that you follow these steps in those particular order, because it really does change how you are participating in that conversation. And I'm going to repeat them again. 1, you're going to attend the conversation. 2, you're going to make sense of the message. 3, you're going to remember what was given to you. 4, you're going to grasp the literal meanings. 5, you're going to evaluate the information. And 6, you want to respond. You want to provide good feedback, bad feedback, whatever. You just want to provide feedback to that conversation that you're having with that person, because it's super important. You don't want to just sit there and just stare at them after they didn't spill their whole heart at you, talking about something, they dropped their ice cream. Then you just look at them and don't say nothing. Or you just be like, oh, okay. Like, then it's going to really make them feel like, damn, you don't give a fuck about what I just told you. I just told you I dropped my damn ice cream. Isn't that messed up? And then you just like, damn, okay. And that's it. That's not a real true response. You want to give them, especially if you're looking for a detailed one, you want to make sure that you was listening and remembering and hearing the conversation that you were having with that person. So now that we got that, let's move on to some bad motherfucking habits all y'all got. No, for real. I'm pretty sure each and every person has at least one of these bad habits and stuff that you need to stop doing. I need to stop doing, because it's not right. And let me get into it right now. So, 1, acting like you're listening when you're really not listening. So that goes back to when I'm saying attending the conversation. How are you listening if you're looking at your phone, you checking your messages, Instagram, Twitter, whatever, and you're not giving them eye contact, you're not collecting any memory of what the person is saying, you're not giving no feedback to them, you're just acting like you're listening. Maybe you just, maybe your body is facing them, but you're not giving them eye contact. You got your phone in front of your face or iPad, whatever you got. Or maybe you're listening to music or something and you're just not paying attention to the conversation. That's not cool. Don't act like you're really listening when you're really not, because you're wasting their time. You're really wasting your time because you're sitting there facing them. No matter if you're speaking to anyone, job, friend, you could be talking to a parent. That's just not right. That's actually really disrespectful. They took the time to want to have the conversation with you. If you don't want to have the conversation with them at that very moment, then let them know, hey, I'm not feeling up to this conversation right now. Can we have it at another time, when I'm emotionally available or something like that, Just be honest with them if you're really not feeling a conversation at that very moment, instead of acting like you're listening when you're really not, just to get it over with. Another one is only knowing or remembering parts of the conversation, like you tuning in and out. Once again, I feel like every single one of these bad habits may have to do with having distractions in front of you, because if you tune it in and out, that means you're only hearing the parts of what the person's telling you. Like, oh, like you heard Sally went to the park, but you didn't hear Sally got an ice cream. And then that's when you find out later on that Sally dropped her ice cream. You're like, damn, where you get your ice cream from? You didn't even say that. But really, Sally did say that. You wasn't listening to all parts of the story that she was telling you about. So definitely that can really have you fucked up in the end, because you could be thinking that she just went to the park for no reason, and then when she tell you that she dropped the ice cream or anything like that, you're not really grasping the literal meaning of what happened in that scenario. And you could think it's something else. You could think she going to the park to meet somebody, but you weren't really listening. So now you could have your mind, racing, thinking of other different things, overthinking, and it just can lead to something else, which it shouldn't be leading to. So definitely pay attention to when a person's telling you a story. And as I mentioned prior, if you don't want to have the conversation with that person, don't waste their time, don't waste your time. Tell them you'd rather speak to them at another time when you are emotionally, mentally available. All right, so another one could be something that I noticed that I portray in is feeling defensive in conversations. Maybe a person could be coming to you with a very strong tone, maybe not purposely, or maybe it is purposely, and they could be basically just telling you like, okay, like when I go back to the scenario, hey, I need to see you in my office right now. Like if the boss tell you that, then you're like, damn, like, okay, let me put a wall up because this person definitely gonna fire me. He talking to me all strong. He gonna fire me. So then you get really defensive and you build a wall, and then eventually you realize, oh, it could be that I'm getting hired, or he has a better opportunity for me, or whatever. But I definitely portray in that. I try not to, especially when I learned this a couple months ago, I try not to be as defensive as I am, but it definitely sometimes it arises, especially if I'm hearing the tone of your voice. It just makes me like, whoa, like, why you coming at me so hard? Like, what did I do to you? So I'm just, try not to be too defensive or just thinking negatively at all, because it could just really alter the conversation. It could honestly be a positive one, but because you came to the conversation defensively, it can, change it and make it into a negative one. So avoid being defensive as much as possible. Another one is avoiding the issue altogether. Although I mentioned before, like, oh, you could tell them you don't want to have this conversation right now. But it can be times where you could be like in a meeting, and the manager is talking, and they start talking about payrolls and stuff like that. And you're cool, you hearing them, you following along. Then they bring up like your days off or something like that, and then you like, damn, like I'm really not trying to talk about this. Maybe they trying to tell you not to take off as much days as you taking off or whatever. So then you tune out, like you avoid listening to the conversation, and that could ruin your productivity at work, because now it's like because you tuned out, you weren't actively listening, and now you're like, nah, I was never told that. But really you was told that in the meeting. You just decided not to listen because it was something that you didn't want to listen to. So try not to avoid every issue. Be optimistic about every issue. It doesn't even have to be an issue. It can be just a part of the conversation. Try to be optimistic about it. I know sometimes, if you're in a romantic relationship, y'all start arguing about certain things. Like, here's a dumbass argument. I don't like when my tissue touch the wall. I like when you wipe your ass. I don't like when the tissue touch the wall. I like it flipped around so it doesn't touch the wall. It just hangs off the roll itself, like in the air. I don't know how you know what I'm trying to say. Like, if you flip it one way, it's gonna be touching the wall. You flip it the other way, it's gonna just be hanging out in the air. So I don't like it when it touches the wall. It just makes me feel cringy and everything like that. And he just put it on anyway. He don't care. And I'd be like, hey, put it the other way. And it's like, maybe he don't want to talk about that, so he'll probably tune it out or something like that. Not saying that he'd do that. I'm just giving an example. So it's just maybe he might tune out and be like, all right, yeah, okay, I hear you, blah, blah, blah. But really, he keep doing the same thing over and over again, and then we have to keep having the same conversation, and it just doesn't really solve anything. It's best to have that conversation with that person when you're emotionally and mentally ready to have the conversation with that person, no matter what it is. Another one is becoming a I love this too. Becoming a conversationalist narcissist. If those of you don't know what narcissist mean, it means you are motherfucking self-centered. You think everything is about you, all the time. Sorry, boo, the world do not surround you. Maybe around Beyonce, but not you. Because especially like in a conversation, you know how like you're having a conversation with someone and you're like, yeah, I just went to the store to pick up some, yeah, girl, I just went to the store to pick up these two, blah, blah, blah. And then I had to do this and I had to do that. And I'm like, damn, bitch, I was in the middle of a conversation. You just cut me off. Like, what the fuck? Like, can I finish my sentence at least? Like, I understand that you went to the store too because I brought up the store, but can I at least finish my sentence? Like, can I get to what I was saying? Like, come on now. So a lot of them are just, they want to have the spotlight of the conversation. And it's not that they're possibly doing it on purpose. That's just something that, they're probably used to doing. And I think that piggybacks on the last and final one, which is when you're talking too much. Sometimes people like to talk a lot, and it could be, who you're talking to could influence why you're talking a lot. Like, I'm very reserved, so I don't talk a lot to people who I don't know, but I do talk a lot with my family. I talk a lot with my boyfriend. So it all depends on who I'm talking to, who I'm having the conversation with. But I do try to incorporate his side of the story or his emotions or whatever like that. But sometimes I do probably take a little spotlight, you feel me? Because he's a very quiet person. But anyway, so try not to be the conversation hog or whatever, because you don't want to seem like all you care about is hearing yourself. You don't want it to seem like you don't care about their opinions, their side, their emotions, because that's their story too that they want to share with you. Y'all are supposed to be friends or family, whatever. You're supposed to be close, having a relationship with each other. Even at work, you don't want to seem like you're talking all the time and they don't even have a chance to get a word in to the conversation. They have their own opinions as well, so let them have their response. Let them have their time to have feedback or piggyback on whatever you have to say. So those were the bad habits. I'm pretty sure you felt close to one of them. I know, like I said, I felt close to feeling defensive, which I've been working on, but I didn't say I'm getting good at it. I'm just working on it. Okay. All right. So, hey y'all, let's start the quiz that I have for you guys. I'm actually really, really excited for this because, like I said, I knew that I was really like striving for one of them, but then I ended up having two of them and I was like, oh, okay, this actually does make a little bit of sense. Okay, got you. So, if you're listening to this and you're like driving, you don't have like an ability to grab a pen or paper, it shouldn't be too hard. There's only about 4 questions. And all you have to do is choose a letter, A, B, C, or D. And then, just tally up how many A's, B's, C's, or D's you have. And then once you're done tallying them up, that's when I'm going to go over what A's mean, what B's mean, what C's mean, and what D's mean. So here is the first question. Which of the oh, y'all going to hear this paper, by the way. If you hear the paper flopping, Okay. All right. So, this quiz is called "What Are Your Listening Strengths?" So the first one is, and like I said before I continue, more than one can apply. So if you got for question 1 and 2, 2 A's, and then question 3 and 4, 2 B's, you can have 2 of those strengths or qualities or traits, whatever. You can have 2 of them. It doesn't only have to be one. All right, here we go. Number 1 is, which of the following best describes you? A, I'm a quick learner who can hear instructions and put them into action. B, I have an intuitive sense, not just of what people say, but how they are feeling. C, I'm a good judge of character. I can usually tell whether people are trustworthy or not. D, I'm a rapid thinker who is often able to jump in and finish people's sentences for them. Number 2, imagine you are tutoring an elementary school student in math. What are you most likely to do? A, focus on clearly articulating the steps involved in solving simple equations. B, begin each tutoring session by asking about the student's day. C, pay close attention to what the student says to see if they are really understanding. D, feel frustrated if it seems the student isn't listening or isn't motivated. 3, a friend launches into a lengthy description of a problem with a coworker. What are you most likely to do? A, offer some ideas for discussing the issue with the coworker. B, show that you are listening by maintaining eye contact, leaning forward, and asking questions. C, read between the lines to better understand what is contributing to the problem. D, pretend to listen, but tune out after 5 minutes or so. 4, if you had your way, which of the following rules would apply to team meetings? A, chit-chat would be limited to 5 minutes so the team can get to the point at hand. B, everyone would get a turn to speak. C, people would back up their opinions with clear data and examples. D, there would be no meetings. They're usually a waste of time. Alrighty, so that was questions 1 through 4. And, just tally up if you have to rewind a little bit to hear, A, B, C, and D again of each question. And tally up, how many A's you got, how many B's you got, how many C's, and how many D's. If you have 3 out of 4 of A and vice versa, then you know that you're most likely A. If you have 2 A's and 2 B's or vice versa between the letters, then you know you're half of A, you're half of B, or vice versa, whatever it is. Alrighty, so now I'm going to explain to you which each, there's only 4 type of listening strengths that it shows below. And it's going to tell you, I'm going to tell you what each letter goes with and what kind of listener you are. Feel free to pause if you need to, rewind like I mentioned. So if you answered A to more than one question, you tend to be an action-oriented listener. You value getting the job done and can become frustrated with inefficiency. Your task orientation can help teams stay on track. Just be careful that you don't overlook the importance of building strong relationships, which are essential for getting the job done. Alrighty, so that means that you are task-oriented. You like to get shit done. You don't like to waste no time. If you answered B more than once, you tend to be a relational and or supportive listener. likely that people feel comfortable. It's likely that people feel comfortable sharing their problems and secrets with you. Your strong listening skills make you trusted friend and colleagues. I'm really bad at reading right now. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Okay. Your strong listening skills make you a trusted friend and colleague. At work, however, this can make it difficult to get things done. Make an effort to set boundaries so people don't talk your ear off. That means that you're a relational/supportive listener. You like to make everyone feel good. You want to make sure everybody's doing okay. If you answered C more than one question, you often engaged in analytical and or critical listening. You tend to be a skeptical listener who isn't easily taken in by phony people or unsubstantive. Did I say that right? Unsubstantive ideas. Your ability to synthesize information and judge its merits is a strength. At the same time, guard against the temptation to reach snap judgments. Take time to consider people and ideas thoughtfully before you write them off. That one is being analytical and critical. That is your strong suit. Yeah. If you answer D more than once, you have a tendency to be an impatient or distracted listener. Your frustration probably shows more than you think. Well, so that means that you're an impatient listener. For my answers, I actually ended up getting 2. I was, relational/supportive and analytical/critical. So I can have a supportive side, but I am definitely a hard worker. So that was mine. I hope that you really enjoyed that quiz. I know I did. It definitely helped me to understand what kind of listener I am and how sympathized. Is it sympathized? Sorry, not sympathize. Yeah, sympathized, or how much sympathy I show towards the people that I have conversations with, how much compassion I want to give, as well as getting shit done when I need to get it done. And like really, trying to grasp the literal meanings when I have conversations with them. So I really enjoyed this quiz and I enjoyed this podcast. I hope you guys did too. Hopefully you guys were hearing me instead of just listening. That way, I know that you guys grasped everything. I knew that you guys were attending, that you were making sense of the messages that I was giving you guys, remembering what I was telling you guys, grasping the literal meaning, evaluating the information. Go to Google if you have to. Definitely make sure that what I'm saying is factual. I would love it if you guys responded, gave me some feedback, and I just hope that you took as much as you needed from this podcast. I love you guys. Later, boo.